God damn it, Game of Thrones. God damn it. How do you keep doing this? Like, I thought after 6 seasons I would be used to seeing stuff like this on Game of Thrones. But you keep finding new ways to wreck me emotionally and leave me utterly speechless. I don't know whether to praise you or berate you. Like, I'm so conflicted. But I will say this. Game of Thrones once again has solidified why it's one of the greatest TV shows on TV at this current time. Because even after 6 seasons, they still can affect you and move you with their writing and their direction. It's still fucking amazing. Anyway, hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and I actually wasn't planning on doing this, but I need a vent. I need to let this out because I have so much to say about this episode. I usually don't talk about Game of Thrones episodes, but I have to talk about this one because this has to be one of the most significant episodes in any Game of Thrones season I've seen so far. Like, I'm not even kidding. This episode does so many things that just completely had me going, what? Holy shit, and that actually happened, and not him. Not him. And if you couldn't tell, lots of spoilers in this video. If you've not seen the 5th episode of Game of Thrones Season 6, titled The Door, don't watch any further. Just stop watching right now. Anyway, there's just so much that happens in this episode. The ones that I won't really go into detail are the ones that deal with Aria and John and Sansa. Their stories are fine. I actually liked Arya's story a little bit because you actually get to see how people viewed the War of the Five Kings, the death of Robert Baratheon from other countries, and they kind of poke fun at Robert Baratheon, the fact that he was killed by a boar, and he's a fat, oafish kind of man. He's just a freaking cruel guy, and it's kind of funny though, seeing the way that they represent Joffrey in this whole thing. It makes him seem, yes, he's a wimp and stuff, but he's not as cruel or malicious as he was in the actual show. They actually he seemed like a much more decent person in the play than he does in the show. Like, in the show, absolute shithead, but in the play, he's like kind of just a whiny little brat and stuff. And it was just interesting just to see that play out. Like, just actually see a real event that happened in Game of Thrones be played out and told through fables and a play. Like, that's interesting. It's kind of like the whole thing about how we kind of we put stage plays of real life events and how we could eschew some of the details a little bit and have some exaggerations here and there. It's very interesting to see. Very solid writing there. But Arya's story, it's not really going to have much of a resolution until later on, so don't really bother with that. That's the only part I really liked. And then the whole Sansa talking to Littlefinger was interesting and stuff, and this episode did one thing I never thought I would ever see. In any Game of Thrones episode, guys, you actually see both Littlefinger and Varys unease. Like, literally, they have no plans. They have no defenses. Their shields are down, and they are at their most vulnerable. The first was Petyr Baelish. I have never seen Petyr more, frightened in his life, speechless. It was amazing to see because this is a guy that literally knows how to manipulate every situation he's in. He can turn it into his favor. This was the one scene where I actually felt like his character felt extremely powerless. So rare to see from Petyr Baelish. Because again, this guy has been an excellent manipulator. Hell, he's the guy that single-handedly, indirectly started the War of the Five Kings. And here he is. He's being, literally talked down to by a teenage girl. And he has no comeback. He has nothing to say. And I think at that moment when he was looking at Sansa, he saw her mother for the first time in a long time. He saw Catelyn and he's like, I don't know what to say to you. that fucking blew my mind to see Petyr Baelish speechless. So I guess there is some relevance to that story. But other than that, you have John and Sansa. They're gonna go try to meet up with the Manderlins and all the smaller houses in the north so that they could team up and beat up freaking Ramsay in the aptly titled Bastard Bowl. Can't wait to see that come into play. Another thing that comes into play, and this is actually really, you want to talk about touching me, there's a really emotional exchange between Daenerys Targaryen and Jorah. Sorry, I don't know why I blanked on his name, but for like the past season and a half, we've been seeing Jorah trying his damnedest to make up for the mistakes that he made in the past, and seeing him like get denied by Daenerys time and time again. And then you see her talking to Jorah. She's just like, I banished you twice, and you came back twice and saved my life. And you know, she's about to walk and give him a hug like she's missed him and all that stuff, but he's like, no, my queen, I have the grayscale, and you cannot approach me. You don't touch me. And he doesn't say that, but it's basically, it's said non-verbally. It's said through like the visuals. I can't really think straight. I gotta get to all of this. But he shows her that he has the grayscale, and she asks, is there a cure? And he's like, I don't know. How long does it take until you're fully affected? I don't know either. Well, I'll put myself away before it gets near. And then you see him, he's about to walk away. He seemed like a defeated man. And then you see Daenerys was like, I didn't dismiss you yet, Jorah. You promised me that you would be by my side. You would give your life to me. So as your queen, I demand that you find a cure. And when you do, you come back and you come with me to Westeros, because we're going to kick some ass, and I can't do it without you. It's so nice to see this reconciliation between them. It might not be a romantic one. In fact, in this scene too, Jorah actually admits the fact that he's in love with Daenerys. Like the first time he ever vocally states that he's in love. And it's actually nice to see that. And he knows that she'll never fully love him back the way that he loves her. But just to be by her side is what he wants the most. And again, I just like seeing them be able to rectify their relationship here. Alright, so we talked about, before we get to the Bran story arc, let's talk about the other character who I was so shocked to see unraveled, his shields, his defenses be brought down. Varys in this episode, for the first time ever, felt human. They humanized this character, because for the entirety of Game of Thrones, this has been a guy that literally would not be moved, not be swayed by anything, never caught off guard. And so Tyrion invites one of the Red Priestess from the R'hllor, the God of Light, all that's the Lord of Light. They invite her to like kind of help them out with their situation. And you see this Red Priestess like literally match his wits. Eye to eye, they're just battling with their words, and then she says, like, do you remember when that sorcerer cut off your balls and your dick? You remember what you heard in the fire? What word was said to you? And I've never seen Varys so uneased before, so like on edge. He literally looked unnerved by this woman, and even when she touched him, he goes like, It was so shocking to see. Again, just to see both of them, Baelish and Varys, unraveled like this. You know, it's such a humanizing moment for these characters. And it just shines so much light about how Varys works emotionally, at least, you know, at this point in time. Because he's never really worked on emotions. He's always worked based on serving the realm and making the smart strategic plans to get ahead. This is the first time we ever saw true emotion from this guy. And I'm like, I was speechless when I saw this scene too. I'm like, is he acting all scared and uneasy? Wow! Varys, of all characters. I want to also talk about the King's Moot that happens on the Iron Islands. They elect a new king, basically. And we have Theon kind of throwing support to his sister Yara, and she gives a really nice speech about how, you know, I'm Ironborn and I can lead you. Yeah, we never have a queen, but god damn it, I think I could step up to the plate. And then in comes their uncle, Euron. He's like, I'm Euron Greyjoy. and I claim the salt's throne. And he gives this speech about how, oh, you're gonna let a woman run you. Oh, you got your cock and your balls taken off. No wonder why you wanna elect a queen for the first time ever. Have some balls. Oh wait, you don't have anyone. You don't have any more, do you, Theon? And they all just kind of rally over to Euron because he sways them with his words like, hey, I am the king of the Iron Islands, and I will take what's mine. I paid the iron price, goddammit. I killed my brother, and I'm going to take Westeros by teaming up with someone who hates Westeros as much as I do, Daenerys. We're gonna get her dragons. I'm gonna woo her over with all of our ships, and she's gonna come over to our side. We're gonna take Westeros. We're gonna take the Iron Throne. It's gonna be ours, baby. He sways them with his beautiful, eloquent words. And so they elect him to be the next king, and Yara and Theon, they flee, because, I mean, come on. You really think Euron's gonna let them live after that? He even, after he gets resurrected in a sense, he gets up, he's like, the first things he says, where are my niece and nephew? Let's go murder them. I'm like, this fucking asshole. Literally, the first thing he does is he tries to murder his own kin, and nobody says anything about it. He's like, oh, okay, the king said we gotta kill them, so let's go. And now he's trying to build his own fleet and all that stuff. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how the Iron Islands come into play in this season. They built them up really well, so I'm curious. And now let's get to the two biggest twists. First off, with Bran's whole story, it is revealed that the children of the forest are responsible for the creation of the White Walkers. They created the White Walkers. Holy shit! They created the White Walkers. In a sense, I should have saw that coming. I mean, it makes so much sense. The White Walkers are mythical creatures. They have mythical powers. Who else in this world also contains mythical powers, can live very long, and rely on nature to guide them? The children of the forest. And it makes so much sense, story-wise. It makes so much sense that they were created. There's even a small exchange between Bran and one of the children of the forest. I believe her name is Leaf. He asks, why? Why did you create them? And she's like, we were at war. And it makes sense because in Game of Thrones lore, back in the day, there was a war between the First Men and the Children of the Forest to see who could claim dominance over Westeros. And in this war, they formed a pact. And I'm guessing before they formed the pact, they created the White Walkers as a last-minute resort. Think of them like the nukes of Westeros, We have them, we could use them, so back off. But before they could even use them, they formed a pact already, a treaty and stuff. And then it got out of hand, and now they have to pay for what they did. Literally, they were paying for what they did. And Bran touches the tree, and he sees all of these whites who are zombies created by the White Walkers all gathered here. And you see those 4 White Walker bastards, and the Night King comes down. He's like, hey, wait a minute. You are alive. You're here from the three-eyed raven, aren't you? Touches his hand, and Bran gets up. He's like, oh my God, he saw me. And then the three-eyed raven, he's like, he touched you. And he rolls up his sleeve. You see a handprint on his arm, and freaking the whole army just comes to this one spot, and they're about to wreak havoc and just take Bran. I don't know why they want Bran so much. That's the biggest question I have. What do they need with Bran? Why is he so important to them? It's not really specified in this episode, so I really want more information as to why they really need him. But so they come in, they break through and stuff, and the three-eyed raven's like, I need to teach you how to become me now. So I'm gonna send you back to this time where you see Willis, who is Hodor and all that stuff, and they're all coming in. They're telling Hodor to pick up Bran and we gotta get out of here. Finally, Bran controls Hodor, and they're walking out and stuff, and Leaf sacrifices herself so that they could get away, stopping the Whites for now, and then Hodor holds the door. pushed on the door, and you have Mira repeating the phrase, hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, hold the door. And this gets through Bran, who's in the past at this moment, looking at the younger Hodor, who was Willis, and all of a sudden he affects him to the point where he falls to the ground and he starts saying, hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, hold door, hold door, hold door, hold door. And seeing Hodor holding the door, keeping the White Walkers from advancing, and Hodor never was like a major character of Game of Thrones. You could almost say he wasn't even that much of a significant character of Game of Thrones. But the guy was just so damn lovable and likable. And it's devastating to see him go. I'm not even kidding, guys. That final scene, those final few minutes where you see Hodor giving it his all to hold that door as he's being ripped to shreds by the Wags. It was heartbreaking. Literally traumatic. I felt like I was losing a friend. And just the whole reveal as to why he says Hodor all the time, I have to say, that is a stroke of genius. Again, showing the great writing that this show always shows. I would have never put together that the phrase Hodor comes from the combination of the phrase hold the door. That is actually really ingenious. I would have never guessed. And it makes so much sense. You say that phrase constantly. Hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, hold door, hold door, hold door, hold. And again, and you hear that Stark theme, the one that goes. It's like that sorrowful tone with the scene that is going on. I was speechless. Utterly speechless. I don't know how you keep doing it, Game of Thrones, but you keep getting good, man. I mean, yes, this episode is heartbreaking. It's devastating just to see the loss of this great character, even though he's kind of he's one of the side characters of the show. Someone you never thought would ever be in any real danger. It would have been so cool to see Hodor make it to the very end. This character is like a simple-minded fool, giant, make it to the very end, and now we lost him. I'm sorry, it got me. So that's really all I gotta say. This is the best episode of season 6 so far. Not only was so much revealed, not only did so much happen, but it also just surprised me with so many things and hit me emotionally, rocked me to my core to the point where I had to make this video. So yeah, that was episode 5, The Door. And I would love to know, for those of you who have seen it already, what did you guys think? Did it affect you as much as it affected me? I would love to know. I would love to hear your thoughts. And I would love to know, are you big fans of Game of Thrones? Just comment below. Let me know. I'm just so emotional right now. I had to get all that out. I'll miss you, Hodor. And whenever I hear the phrase, hold the door, I'll always think of you, buddy. So until then, guys, I have some movie reviews, anime reviews coming your way, so stay tuned for that, unboxing videos. And if you'd like to see more on this channel and be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. I'm Tony Watt II, still devastated by what I just saw as the Black Critic Guy. Rest in peace, Hodor, and peace, YouTube.